This segment is brought to you by College Football Frenzy. For compelling football discussion, find us on Facebook today.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto d'amor.
Welcome, college football fans, to another weekly installment of Congratulations, you lost, and your team sucks donkey balls with Timothy Ray Bailey. This week we examine Jimbo Fisher, James Franklin, and the Big 12 officials.
All right, so let's start out with Jimbo Fisher. He's the one who deserves the slap on the wrist this week, but Jimbo Fisher led his crew into Jordan Hare, which is a tough place to play. Everybody knows this, except for LSU and Tennessee. Just kidding. Anyway, they had a 24-7 lead at one point in this game, and the fourth quarter showed up, and they let it slip away, and Auburn came all the way back to win. And now Auburn's probably going to be ranked because Texas A&M let a game slip away from them that they absolutely had no business losing. Here's why I'm really upset with Franklin. Did you watch any of this game, Doug?
I did. I watched a lot of the first quarter.
Now, when you watched the first quarter, you could notice that Penn State's receivers were winning one-on-one pretty consistently.
They were.
Against Michigan's DBs. You know how often touchdowns happened in that game? Almost for Penn State, they had one at the very end. And you know why they had one at the very end? Because guess what? Tracy McSorley had no business playing. And I know that Michigan's defense is good, and that we knew they'd have an advantage up front. But that's not Tracy McSorley that we've watched through the last 3 years. He was not in a good enough condition to play in that game.
Right.
At all. He couldn't hit. He missed 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And the game was 14-0 at halftime. 2 wide open touchdowns. Do you know how different that game is with 2 touchdowns on the board?
Oh, absolutely. It's tied up at the half.
Right, and that changes the way the complexion of the game works. Was Michigan better than Penn State? Yes, they were. Mm-hmm. Period. But that game, Penn State has enough talent.
I think it
should
have been
competitive than Michigan. They had more talent than Michigan. And this is after also that Penn State blew a double-digit lead against Ohio State and blew a lead against Michigan State and almost blew a lead against Iowa the week before.
Right.
Penn State, Franklin, he's relying too heavily on Tracy McSorley. When he leaves next year, this may bottom out. How about the Big 12 refs on Saturday?
You know,
let's start with the.
I've looked at some of the footage that you showed me, but I haven't looked into this real hard. But I'm going to let you tell the story.
So first of all, we'll start in the morning game, the big game of the week in the Big 12, Texas and West Virginia. West Virginia's starting left tackle got ejected for basically no reason. Okay. Pretty much no reason. He argued, and he got ejected.
Oh, there was a reason. Texas is probably the team that they would like to get to the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. See, what happens in other leagues is there's kind of a perception out there, and I know the ACC does it because I've seen Clemson get too many favorable calls to not.
Right.
To not
it happens in the SEC too. I mean, I realize that.
The best teams usually get the benefit of the doubt. In the Big 12, Oklahoma never gets the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not saying that as an angry Oklahoma fan. Oklahoma does not get the benefit of the doubt in any officiating. You've watched a lot of Oklahoma games. You probably agree with me. Now, sometimes they don't get in the way, but they don't ever get a TCU that celebration that CD and Hollywood did all year. Mm-hmm. Got flagged for a 15-yard penalty, and then Kevontae Turpin scored a touchdown on a kick. That was crazy. But the Texas Tech game on Saturday night was one of the most egregiously officiated games I have ever witnessed in my life.
Well, tell us about the problem spots.
The one that really bothered me from a sportsmanlike standpoint is that the Texas Tech player hit the clearest targeting penalty I can remember. And you've seen the footage, so you probably agree with me.
Yeah, it definitely looked like targeting.
It was no question. They called it on the field, then reversed it. I don't know how they did that. That was clearly targeting. He launched, he lowered his helmet, he hit him with the top and the crown in the head. Mm-hmm. That was clearly targeting. There was no question. Parnell Motley gets an interception right before halftime. They wave it off because they say pass interference. The review, I mean, you look on replay, there's no shot that's pass interference. Not even close. The guy slipped, and they called pass interference. There was a 4th and goal where Texas Tech got away with 2 really egregious holds that prevented Oklahoma defensive linemen from getting in the backfield and hitting the quarterback. Mm-hmm. They allowed it to convert for a touchdown. There was a 40-yard bomb, and at this point in the second half, Texas Tech had only 4 total yards of offense, and it was almost the fourth quarter, and he just threw up a 40-yard bomb. The guy clearly did not catch it. The ball slid on the ground. You can see it in the replay. It was clearly not caught, and they, in replay, allowed it to stand. CeeDee Lamb, and the Big 12 actually admitted their error this morning on this one too, Coach Riley, as he said in his press conference. CeeDee Lamb shouldn't have been called for 2 unsportsmanlike penalties. He should have only been called for 1. And Riley said he should have been called for neither of them, in his opinion. So, all in all, the refs swung the game approximately 23 points and maybe 30.
Our audio-only podcast is hosted at podcastgarden.com/podcast/smackingoff. Or find us on Google Play Music or on iTunes.
They're a champion. They've won the biggest championship, and that's a championship of life.
Each week, Smacking Off presents our Life Championship Top 10. This week's Life 10 is brought to you by Bad Month Tires. You don't have the slack for Goodyear, so why not aim for the middle? Bad Month Tires, the most economical tire money can buy. Also brought to you by Doyle Hargrave Construction.
Stay out of my goddamn face, you fucking buzzard.
Also brought to you by Dapper Dan Pomade.
Well, I don't want fuck, goddammit. I'm a Dapper Dan man.
And now, this week's Life Championship Top 10. Number 10, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Number 9, the Washington Huskies. Number 8, the Kentucky Wildcats. Number 7, the Wisconsin Badgers. Number 6, the Miami Hurricanes. Number 5, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Number 4, the Florida Gators. Tied at number 2, the Texas Longhorns and the LSU Tigers. And numero uno, for the second straight week, the Ohio State Buckeyes.